Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
Habitat loss is the greatest threat to our flats fisheries. That's why Bonefish and Tarpon Trust has been committed to restoring and conserving essential fish habitat for more than 25 years. From Florida to Belize, from the Bahamas to Mexico, we're restoring natural flows, replanting mangroves, and opposing unwise coastal development. But we can't do it alone. Help us bring science to the fight for the future of the fisheries we love. Become a member today at btt.org.
Welcome to the Casting Across Fly Fishing Podcast. I'm Matthew of castingacross.com, where I explore the quarry and culture of fly fishing. It's episode 383, and this is going to be a user's guide to casting across. What in the world is that, and why should you listen? Well, here's the first reason why. I have observed in my years of doing this, 10 years of doing casting across, and whatever 383 divided by 52 is, that many months of doing the podcast, that I have different audiences. Now, there's some crossover, but generally speaking, I think there's most folks listen to the podcast or read the website. And I want to encourage you, if you listen to the podcast, to go check out the website. And today I'm going to talk about some of the things that you can do on castingacross.com. And here's the reason why. There is so much more information to be had on the website. One of the things that I like to do in the podcast is really just kind of skip a stone across the surface of some relatively deep topics. Last week was a great example. If you listened last week, I talked about carp. The week before that, I talked about gear for predatory fish. I mean, both of those topics are immense. Entire websites dedicated just to those topics. But a good first place to go is the website, is Casting Across, because what I try to do is I try to give links. So you can kind of think of it as like a funnel, where the podcast is like the widest top of the funnel, and you go into the website, and then it's into a more condensed options. So it's like a funnel with multiple outlets. It's probably a better analogy, but that's the one that we're sticking with. So let's talk about the website for a second and some of the things that you can do on it. Whether you're on mobile or whether you're on desktop, it's all there. Now, I would not say it's a particularly feature-rich website, but it is a very content-rich website. I don't do a lot with search engine optimization and things like that, just because I don't have the time for it. Anything that can be done through my hosting provider or my website service for relatively cheap or for low effort, and then I'll go ahead and do that. But I don't spend a lot of time trying to make Casting Across pop up in the top of Google rankings, although it is for a few things. And one of those things is small stream fly rods and small stream fly fishing. So to that end, we'll actually start with the newest feature on Casting Across. So there's a few kind of static elements on the website. I always put 3 new posts up every week. I've been doing that for 10 years, since October of 2015, I guess. I put up 3 new pieces of content. These days, for the last year and a half, Monday has been an article. Wednesday has been a YouTube video, usually a book review. And Friday is a podcast. And so you get that information about what each one of those are, particularly the 2 media content items, the podcast and the video. Those are on the website on Wednesday and on Friday. And Monday is usually an article, gear review, something like that. But what I am starting to do, and you can actually access it right now, and a lot of people have, quite a few actually this week, it's a new resource called Fly Fishing Small Streams, or Small Stream Fly Fishing. This is like the bread and butter of Casting Across. If you were to take everything in Casting Across and throw it out on the table and see, and every piece of content was a marble, there would be a bunch of shining marbles that were in the small stream fly fishing category, right? It would cover the most of the table. That would draw your eye to those particular pieces of content the most would be stuff that had to do with fly fishing on small streams. So what I've done is create a static page. So if you're on the desktop, it's on the right hand side in the bars, and if you are on a mobile device, it's all the way down at the bottom. Although I might change up the format here in a little bit. But when you go to this, it's going to give you a list of different topics about small stream fly fishing. Gear, techniques, and even ideas of how to think about and approach small stream fly fishing. So this is a new resource that I'm hoping will grow. Actually, I don't use AI to generate content, and I've talked about it before. I think I've actually had an entire podcast episode about that. But I do not use AI to generate content, and here's why. That you can do that elsewhere. You can do that yourself if you wanted to. You could ask, hey. I don't want to say any of the names because I have devices staring at me right now, but you could ask your AI bot to tell you about small stream fly fishing, and there you go. You don't need to read it from on my website. You can do it yourself. But if you want to hear a person who's actually been on a river, robots don't go to rivers, who's actually held a trout, robots don't hold trout, then I want to give you that perspective. And so all that to say, that content is all legit. Man-made. But I have used AI to say, hey, what would be a better way to organize this? How can more people find my stuff when they're on the website, not even on Google? And putting together combination posts and aggregate posts like this are one of the things that says that a couple of the robots I've talked to have said would be helpful. So this is the first one in this series called Small Stream Fly Fishing, and you'll find that on the right if you are on the desktop. Other things that are over there that are worth looking at. One is called Fly Fishing Books. Now, this is a resource that will first and foremost link you to the YouTube channel. So over on YouTube, I have quite a few videos. Every podcast episode is listed as a video, so consequently, there's 500 or whatever. But this is also where all of my book review videos fall is on YouTube. But there's a handful of other videos as well. Yet the Fly Fishing Books link, when you go to that, it's not only a link to those, but if you scroll down, there are images of the covers of a number of the books that I have reviewed on Casting Across. And so it's something 75 or 80 books. And I haven't updated it to include all the books that have made it onto the YouTube channel. I'll probably get around to doing that, but right now it's all the books I've written about. You can see their cover pages, and then there's a link to the YouTube videos that you can check out there. The next resource that's a little bit static and that it's always there on the homepage is called the Fly Shop Directory. Now, this is something that I'm proud of, is not the right word, but something that I'm hoping is really a great resource for people. And what it is a list of every state in the union, with the exception of Alaska and Hawaii, which I should get around to doing sometime in the near future. And if you click on the link of whatever state is tickling your fancy, it will send you down below to a listing of every fly shop that is in that state. Now, I'm going to talk about this very, very briefly because I get more questions, comments, and accusations about this page than anything else on Casting Across. You might say, hey, my favorite fly shop is not there. And I say, okay, well, what's your favorite fly shop? And you say Bass Pro. And honestly, I've been places in this country where Bass Pro Shop is not just the only fly shop. It is, it's actually not the only fly shop, but it's the best fly shop. And I have no problem saying that. Just because there is a brick and mortar store with a person standing in it telling you they're selling fly fishing gear doesn't mean it's the best one around. Sometimes it's because people are grumps. Sometimes it's because people are just unpleasant. And sometimes it's because their stock is no good. And sometimes it's because their flies are cheaper than the things that get imported to Bass Pro Shop. It is what it is. But that said, Bass Pro is not on this list. The little shop inside the lodge, which may be phenomenal because it caters perfectly to the river that flows mere yards from the front step of that particular establishment, it is not on this website. The gas station that has amazing hand-tied flies right next to the pickled eggs and the beef jerky is not on this website. This is like legit brick and mortar fly shops. That said, there's like 450 of them on here. They close, and then I get angry emails saying, hey, this one's closed. Why isn't it gone? Or a new one opens in Tennessee, and I don't have it up there in a matter of days, and someone says, hey, why don't you care about this fly shop? All right. I rely on you. I do not crawl the internet. Again, like a robot. I'll let the robots do that to update this information. So another thing you can do is you can go to the Fly Shop directory, which you can access not only on the side of the website, but the top of the website, Fly Shop directory, and go to your state and let me know who I've missed. Freshwater, saltwater, you let me know. But a legit fly shop, not the boat store that sells a handful of fly rods, not the hiking shop that sells just a couple of fly rods. Legit fly shops, because although I'm so happy that there are gas stations, big outdoor stores, and other miscellaneous establishments that sell fly fishing gear, I really want to promote and celebrate fly shops with this resource. So that is right there for you to check out as well. A couple of other resources that you can find on Casting Across. So if you go to the right of the desktop, it's going to give you a list of the most recent posts, something like 9. So basically 3 to 4 weeks of content. And then there's a few things you can click on. There's an About Casting Across, what the website's about the author, information about me. Don't talk about myself a whole bunch. I do there. And then a contact form. This is the best way to get a hold of me, and here's why. My email will not flag you as junk. You can always give me a shot at Matthew@castingacross.com. Matthew@castingacross.com. Feel free to send me an email that way. But every once in a while, something goes to spam. I will always get information you send over the contact form. All right. Next thing down is the archives. So here it's broken down by month. So you can click on that and you can go all the way back to October of 2015, and you can pick a month and you can go from there. But then there's also a search feature, and this is really where things come alive. So again, if you're going all the way back to October of 2015, and right now, actually, let me go ahead and check. On the website, there are 1,626 pieces of content. As the recording of this article, there's 1,626. If you're going to be listening to this, then there'll be 1,627. But all of that is available if you go to the archives, and you can type something in. So, for example, I'll put in the word bass, and what comes up instantaneously is an article about using a 4-weight for bass, then a podcast about fishing in Virginia, and then 3 tips for next bass fly rod. And so you can just scroll down and see anything and everything that has to do with bass. But then something else you can do is that I try to do a good job of categorizing and organizing all of my content in a way that will make it searchable and easy to access. And so if you look down at the bottom of those articles, there are tags. And so if you want to find more information on bass, even if the article doesn't have the word bass in the title, then you click on the word bass. So for example, the next article that comes up, the first one is called Bass on the 4-weight. The next one that comes up is called Lizards and Largemouth. And then scrolling down, more articles that have large or smallmouth in the title. And this way you can find information that you are looking for. Again, over 1,500 pieces of content that are fly fishing related in one way, shape, or form. So that's another thing that the website gives you access to. The last real major thing that I want to point out on the website is that you can subscribe. And we are quickly approaching a threshold on what the current newsletter platform I use will allow me to do. So this all may change in the very near future, but at the moment, you can still sign up in this way. On the right-hand side of the homepage, there's a box that's got like a foggy warning, and it says all of Casting Across, 1 email a week. You put your email address in, hit subscribe. Now, this is the important thing. This is where a lot of people email me and say, I subscribe, but I'm not getting these emails. You are going to get a confirmation email. This confirmation email will probably, I would say there's a 25% chance, end up in your junk or spam folder. Now, probably would be the wrong word to use since it's only 1 out of 4. But you know what I mean. There's a good chance. That if you don't get that, it's because it's in your spam folder. How about that? You click on that, and then you are signed up. I send 1 email a week. I don't have the time, the energy, nor do I want to put forth the effort to send out multiple emails a week. You will get a Tuesday lunchtime reminder here on the East Coast of what came out on Monday and the previous Friday and the previous Wednesday. And of course, that will save you from having to bookmark the website and go click around on it that way. But if you want to do that, then I would suggest you do that as well. So you can do that to the right on the website. At the bottom of each and every article, you will find that. So that's basically how to use the website. You're like, I know how to use websites. Well, the reality is that I'm a one man show, right? I don't really promote that, but it's me. I have written 1,625 of the articles on the website. There's one kind of ill-fated guest post in the back catalog if you want to go and search that one out. But it's all me, and I would like to make it as user-friendly as possible. But I think something a little bit more organic than paying somebody to read it on the website would for me to just share this with you. And if you are finding this podcast on the website, then I hope you give it a listen. And you can find a little bit more of the fly fishing information that is available to you if you click around on Casting Across. So is there something that you would like to see on the website? Is there a feature that you think would be beneficial over at castingacross.com? Then let me know. Matthew at castingacross.com. I'm always happy to hear people's questions, their comments, their accusations, or if you are a website genius, then lay it on me. I'm happy to hear it. The last thing I'd say there is that you can subscribe to all the socials, which if you want that kind of content, and then you can get it there also. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, you name it. All right, this week on the website, like we've been talking about, Monday's article, new resource, fly fishing small streams. Like I said before, this is a new aggregate of small stream fly fishing information. I put 10 articles up there to start, and I'm going to see how people use it, and I will adjust it from there. But fly rods, other gear, techniques, tactics, and just reflections on fly fishing on small streams. Wednesday's article is called Video, the Horror of Fishing. The Horror of Fishing. Now, this book was a lot of fun. It was called The Fisherman, a novel by John Langan. And this is a horror novel. I don't want to give away too much of the story, nor do I want to retread the information that I shared on the video, which I shot in my car. The first time I've ever shot a video in my car. But I listened to it as an audiobook. And I would absolutely recommend that if you are not reading a lot of fly fishing stuff and you want to, throw on an audiobook. I had another video a few months ago about how virtually every John Gierach novel should be accessible if your library participates in something like Hoopla or Libby, or if you have a Audible subscription, or you have an Amazon Music subscription. If you are the main account holder, then you get one Audible rental a month. And so hop on there, find something. And if you want something a little bit different, check out The Fisherman by John Langan. It's a story that is about grief and friendship and history and spooky stuff. I really enjoyed it. And I think that if you have kind of open mind about different kinds of fishing books, you will as well. This week's recommendation on the podcast is a little bit different because I've never touched one of these products with my own hands. But I've seen them on social media, and I went to their website and was really impressed. Up-and-coming brand called Drift Belt. They make a bunch of different belts, but for what might be interesting to you is there are reversible trout pattern belts. So if a belt that looks like a brook trout is too loud, you flip it over and it's like a topographical river scene. So you can maybe, wear the brook trout with your untucked shirt and the topo one if you want to tuck it in. But they are nylon kind of webbing style belts. And the cool thing about these is the buckles have a little bit of personality to them. They're pretty cool. So I'll put a link to them on this podcast show notes. But definitely go check it out. A couple of things. If you're somebody who has everything, something like this is awesome. I mean, if you are an angler and you have every hat in the world, you have all the t-shirts, you have all the gear you need, then you can get a brown trout, rainbow trout, reversible belt and wear that. Whether you're the only one that sees it or you show it off to the world, then by all means you can do that. Another thing that's really cool. It has a cool story. I was clicking around their website, and you can read about the company and how it came to be. Stuff like this is the stuff that I enjoy seeing and I enjoy reading about. And I have come to know so many people who have like passion projects in and around fly fishing, and I'm always just really impressed by them and by what they do. So check out Drift Belt. Again, I'll put a link to their website over on their on this podcast show notes over at castingacross.com. Thanks for listening to the Casting Across Fly Fishing Podcast. Please subscribe to your favorite podcast app and rate the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Then head over to castingacross.com for 3 posts a week on the people, places, and things that go to the pursuit of fish.